I was always a perpetual drawer, a doodler. So my high school years, my desks were always covered in drawings. I would get in trouble or get detention because I had to clean all the desks because I constantly drew on them. So really in those teenage years, I was a drawer. But I never thought of a career as an artist. I wanted to actually be a poet, which making a career as an artist could be difficult. A poet might be harder. And those teenage years of writing and creating poetry, I think, seeped into my painting as well. As you see, many of my works have words, little sayings in it. So I think that experience of writing helped me the way I create art and the words that are used within my painting. Those years spent with my grandparents in their framing factory in Brooklyn were some of the most memorable moments of my life. And thinking back as being a little child surrounded by master paintings by Picasso, Chagall, Moreau, it helped me develop a very comfortable relationship with painting and sculpture. It helped me to not only look at the works as a museum piece or a gallery piece, but as paintings that you live with and experience. And it really shaped the way that I live, create, and surround myself with art. So I think that experience of the way I view art came from those years spent at the framing factory in a very informal way. I don't think that I could have came to this style of painting if I didn't experience and experiment, really, with all those other styles. Most of my 20s was just experimenting with soft sculpture, conceptual art, minimalism, abstraction, realism. I started off as a very realist painter. And all those years of experimenting really helped me develop the style that I have now and which is recognizable as my work. So essentially, a lot of times I'll tell people I'm not a painter, I'm a drawer. I don't really use brushes. I take an oil stick and I sketch and draw and doodle. And that's how the paintings are created, which gives them that very specific look. But the oil stick, how I started using them must have been in my early 20s when I first started really looking at the work of Basquiat and the way he would write his sayings or poems were all in oil stick. So I was very inspired by that and started buying them and using them, and I liked the medium. What I liked about the medium is that it lacked perfection, meaning I could never get that perfect straight line or that everything was a little rough. And that's what attracted me, because my paintings, they're not about perfection. So I really don't have any preconceived notion of what I'm going to create. For the most part, I grab a piece of paper or tack up the canvas onto the wall, and I really just let my imagination, I just kind of go at it. I kind of experience the medium, and the medium dictates the painting. So if I grab an oil stick and I say this piece is going to be strictly oil stick, the pieces tend to have a really physical, almost dance-like movement to them, as I'm creating as, let's say, how a child would grab a piece of paper, put it on the floor with a bunch of crayons spread out. And if you watch this experience, if you watch like how I watch my children draw, they're completely out of their mind. Yeah, the female form has been, for me, my longest running series of works. And for me, when I first started doing figurative drawing, which was very classical figurative drawing, when I was 18, 19 years old, I was studying in Italy. And that's where I met my wife. And I was doing very realistic drawings of her. And as I grew as an artist, the different characters started to emerge in my works. I have a love for sci-fi and horror films, and so does now my 7-year-old son. And we love werewolves. So I started creating this ghost character as a way to confront death, but in a friendly way. The ghosts are not meant to be demons, they're meant to comfort. And for me, the ghost was just that. I painted them to help me get out of this anxiety, or at least try. And to this day, I still continue to work with the ghost, and the ghost has become almost a memento mori, a remembrance that you are gonna die. In turn, let's remember to live. So when I read Miss You on the ghost painting, what I'm experiencing and let's say what you're experiencing are gonna be very different, but it'll be a very strong reaction. And it'll take you someplace where it could be very personal or very beautiful or very sad, but I want the viewer to have that very personal connection with the work. So the exhibition is titled For You. And when thinking about the paintings that I wanted to display with my first show at VILLAZAN, I kept coming back to my grandfather. This solo exhibition, I felt that I wanted it to be almost like a mini retrospective, a mini summary of my last 10, 11 years of painting. And I wanted it dedicated for him. Unfortunately, he won't be able to see it, but I wanted him to, this was gonna be for him. It was born out of several different things going on. But from the reason why I started this series, which I call it the Battleground series, it's this battle. It's a battle between a girl and she's fighting the aliens off, the UFOs off. But the flying penis really was, it was kind of a joke. It was a little bit of a joke and a little bit of a, kind of an Adam and Eve story I wanted to depict on the canvas. It was also a little bit of the Silver Surfer, but I didn't want to do a surfboard. So I thought, oh, a girl using a flying penis to battle the aliens. You can't help but to not smile and look at that painting and walk away feeling with a little smirk and a little bit of joy. So it might be absurd to create this giant penis painting, but it would be just as absurd not to do it. And so I decided to do it. Yeah, so now I've been talking to Pablo for quite some time and we've developed a nice friendship. And that's really what I want with galleries that I work with. It's not just a business relationship. I want a gallery that believes in not just the artwork, but in me as a person, as an artist, and as a friend. So with Pablo, I know he has a real love for the art, and the art comes first. And those are the galleries that I want to work with. When I asked Pablo about this painting, I said, Pablo, I'm thinking about putting this brand new painting into the show. Are you okay with it? And his response was, of course it is. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star, is one of the quotes by Friedrich Nietzsche that I would like to end with. And it really means, to me, is that you have to be a little bit out of your mind to do something spectacular with your life, or something spectacular in general.